is the final day of the Indo Africa Cup as we are getting ready for the men's final, the women's finals, the third place playoffs. It's definitely an exciting day for Indo hockey. We're looking forward to Namibia taking on South Africa in the women's final, and also South Africa and Namibia in the men's final. And then we do also have the third place playoffs that still have to play, although it might not happen because it might be friendlies since Botswana got disqualified earlier in the competition. But yes, do stay tuned. It's an exciting day for finals, and we'll be catching up with you guys a little bit later.
Meet Christine, an office snacker with a craving for treats, but a budget to stick to. Fortunately, the Synergy chatbot has her covered. With just a few taps, Christine can find the latest specials on snacks, satisfying her cravings without breaking the bank. And then there's Brian, who's out on a date with the most beautiful girl in Vincent. But even romance can't distract Brian from his love of sports updates. Luckily, the Synergy chatbot keeps him in the loop so he can stay connected while enjoying his evening. Finally, there's Henriette, who loves to stay informed with the latest news. Unlike other boomers, Henriette knows that she can conveniently access daily newspapers via the Synergy chatbot. Whether it's snacks, sports, or news, the Synergy chatbot has something for everyone.
More than a retailer, we bring sports to life. From teamwear to trophies, we've got it all. Headquartered in Windhoek, find us at the Grove Mall, Vernhill, Old Breweries Craft Center, Swakopmund, Walvis Bay, Otjiwarongo, Oshikati, and Rundu. Experience the best in sports and style at OTB Sport. We're not just about sports, we're about community. Join us at OTB Sport, where passion meets purpose.
Good morning, viewers. Welcome, of course, to this beautiful broadcast brought to you by, of course, Network Television. We are here at the Dome in Swakopmund. It is Zimbabwe versus Botswana. This is the Indo Africa Cup. My name is Enzo Amwele, and I'm joined by the magnificent, eloquent Brian Munango.
Enzo, thank you for that wonderful intro there. I think you couldn't have introduced me any better, but yeah, like you said, we are getting ready for an exciting, I would say friendly, but I mean, let's call it the third and fourth place playoffs between Botswana, who arrived yesterday, and Zimbabwe, who have been here since the beginning of the tournament. So yeah, it's an exciting game to look forward to. I don't know what we can expect from this one because I haven't really seen much of Botswana yet, but definitely very excited.
Of course, Brian, I need to agree with you there. I don't know what to expect from both of these teams. I've seen, of course, Botswana yesterday on the field, and you would see how South Africa suffocated them with a 24 victory. And of course, today they face Zimbabwe. Both teams are very well played teams. And of course, let's look at the lineup for Botswana. We have Matison Jenna in the goalkeeper there, and Mutara Muswa, and then Ivan Sara, and then Mushavi, Ruvarashe, Buerinofa Stephanie, Chungumira, and then Grant Nicole, and then Matambo. We have Diplock Kelly right there, and Elia in number 13, and then Nengare for Farirai, that is Zimbabwe. Of course, Botswana, you have Jacob Chapiso, Masole Trotlo, Mpatane, Bonani, Kanganela, White, and Apandile, Kopamelo, and Makandela, Naledi, Nkoba, Ipelo, and Gabana, Boitumelo, Brian. Of course, that is the lineup of both countries here. And it is, of course, friendly. He said the third and fourth playoff. Of course, that gives Namibia and South Africa a spot to, of course, go to Croatia for the Indo World Cup 2025. Let's hear it for the Green Guard.
Rate the crowd.
Okay, well, there we do see the teams getting ready. Okay, well, and so speaking of this game of Botswana and Zimbabwe, I find it very interesting with the fact that Botswana only have 6 players. I mean, what do you think that means for the team? Because looking at the games that we have seen recently, you know how teams usually rotate, and they rotate the players very quickly. But Botswana do not have that privilege because they do not have enough players to rotate. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Of course, I think that of course will impact Botswana negatively because it gives them no room for rest, no room for the players to of course make changes and bring in a new energized players.
Zimbabwe to get us started.
Of course, that is Matambo, and I've seen her play. Quite confident in her play on the field. Of course, you see there we have Divlok Kelly right there. That is your number 10, and of course she has showcased some serious competition on the field when they played against Namibia and South Africa.
Let's see how this game plays out. I'm very, very eager to see how Botswana puts up a battle against Zim. I think South Africa was a bit too strong for them, or Namibia yesterday rather, was a bit too strong for the Botswana team. But yeah, let's take a look at what Zimbabwe can do on the picture. Just waiting for the whistle here. And if you are only joining us now, we are gathered for the Indo Africa Cup that Zimbabwe and Botswana are about to kick off in the final day of the tournament.
Of course, Brian, it's been exciting 3 days here at the Dome in Swakopmund. So, of course, a brilliant world-class hockey that was, of course, exhibited by this pool of young players. And you could see that most of these players came to the occasion. There we go, Zimbabwe. Ball is with Botswana. Of course, starting it off there. That is Patane. That was blocked by Zimbabwe there. Of course, we have deep block Kelly. Patane looking to take it forward. Back to Patane. Brilliant block there from Zimbabwe. Botswana looking to go forward. The ball is back with Patane.
Even start to the game so far.
Patane looking for Kabana in the front there. Blocked by Zimbabwe. Patane in the center, getting a fresh start for Botswana. It was a sloppy pass from Botswana there. And we have, of course, Zimbabwe making a run. Could this be a chance for Zimbabwe? Of course, Matambo still fighting to get the ball in. And it was a block from, of course, Jacob Chapiso in the goal.
Well, I think Zimbabwe could have done a little bit more better with that attack. Proved to be very toothless, and we've been seeing a lot of that in the tournament, but hopefully we will see them scoring some good goals here. And I definitely do sense that, correct me if I'm wrong, but what are your thoughts on Botswana? Do you think that they can maybe nick a few, score a few there, here and there?
Yeah, I think Botswana stands a chance here to, of course, put 1 or 2 behind the net with the likes of course, Mpatane in the center, always trying to get the ball in front for Botswana. And then, of course, the block right there. Of course, looking for Apadile. The ball is with, of course, Bweri Nofa. Mpatane again with the ball, making a fresh start, looking for her players, looking to get it or to swipe it rather to the front. Blocked by Zimbabwe. Of course, that should be a penalty. And Zimbabwe has a chance here. The game is rather not intense. It is a very, of course, an easy-going game for both teams here, taking it easy. And, of course, it is the first quarter of this friendly here at the Dome in Swakopmund. Let's see what comes out from this one.
Patiently waiting. I think Zimbabwe could get their first points here if they do go for it. I think that was a miss by D-Block, if I'm not mistaken.
Of course, that was a good strike from D-Block. Of course, it was a pass from Chigumira, giving it to D-Block. And then, of course, D-Block waves it way out of the goal side. Okay, Botswana, that is Mpatane, taking it to the front. However, blocked by Zimbabwe. Mpatane again. D-Block Kelly with a chance. That is D-Block. What a save from Chapiso.
Very good save. D-Block is showing good signs of scoring early on in the first quarter. She has had 2 attempts on target so far, so I'm sure she'll be favoring her chances with this one.
Ball is with Bweri Nofa. Bweri Nofa showing off some skill right there. Looking, of course, to pass it to Nengare. Nengare gets blocked by Mpatane. And Botswana is showcasing some serious talent there. Ball is back with Mpatane. Mpatane looking to take it to the front. Of course, Bweri Nofa is there. Ball is with Mpatane. Of course, Mpatane. Gabana there fighting to get to the front. It's Gabana. Giving it to Bweri Nofa. Oh, that should be a penalty.
You can hear the men, Botswana men, giving some crowd and some, just some cheer to the females that are playing now that have a corner penalty, a penalty corner. What do you guys call it again, Enzo? For I am not very familiar with the words of hockey.
It's never too late to learn, Brian. And of course, that is a penalty corner for Botswana.
Okay, well, Botswana have a very good chance here to get the first points on the scoreboard, and I think they'll just attempt that. Blocked by Zimbabwe comfortably. Play to the front. Deep block with the ball. She has her eyes set on goal. She'll try and go around, play the assist. There's no one in the box.
Of course, Deep Block was looking for Chigumira. Chigumira was nowhere to be found. The ball is back with Burinova looking for Chigumira. Brilliant save from Tapiso. And it is a goal. Zimbabwe gets their first goal. Brilliant performance from Zimbabwe right there. World-class hockey. Of course, Brian, and of course, with these kinds of competitions, you need to score faster to be comfortable. And it's exactly what Zimbabwe is doing.
I think Botswana had a few good chances, but Zimbabwe have now tasted goal. Now they are very determined and will try to get another one on the score. But I think Botswana will have to hang tight in this one. It's going to be a long game once more.
Of course, it is another chance for Zimbabwe. And of course, let's see. We have the likes of a deep block, Kelly. Let's see whether she will put it in for goal. Zimbabwe gets their second goal. Of course, absolutely brilliant performance from Zimbabwe right there. We are 3 minutes, of course, less than 4 minutes into this game, and Zimbabwe leading, showing Botswana that, hey, we are here to play and not for jokes. Of course, Zimbabwe right there. Brilliant score from Zimbabwe. Another superb goal. Of course, Zimbabwe showing Botswana that, it's not giving Zimbabwe. Definitely not giving Zimbabwe. Absolute superb performance from Zimbabwe right there. Although it's just, of course, a friendly. Absolutely amazing.
I think Zimbabwe are going to maximize what they can from this game and score some good points. Look, the first quarter is almost over, and in the last 3 minutes of the game, we did get 3 goals, 4 maybe, from Zimbabwe, who will attempt to score a 4th here. Police played really well through the legs there. Zimbabwe building some momentum. Another one through the legs. Botswana just struggling to keep a hold of the ball. Goes around it, tries to play the assist. Botswana are struggling. I think Botswana are the ones that are giving Zimbabwe instead of Zimbabwe giving Zimbabwe, like Enzo said. But hopefully we will see Botswana bounce back. I think they can definitely make to score a few goals. But the only issue I have is the bench is very, very limited.
Yes, of course, they do not have much players to swap around compared to Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is making 3 swaps, 4 swaps, and then of course players get a chance to rest. And for Botswana, it's not the case. Of course, they will suffer the consequences. They will be suffocated by the likes of Nicole. That was a very, very good turn from Nicole Grant. Of course, here to showcase some of those world class, world skills of hockey. And Botswana getting a free start there. There we go. What a sloppy pass. Nicole Grant get to it. Of course, it's still Zimbabwe with Elia blocking it. And then we have Nicole there trying to get it. Oh, that was definitely those sticks sticking together. So, our SADC neighbors, of course, are showing some unity there amongst the sticks. Of course, Nicole there. Giving it to the center there with Elia. Of course, getting to the front. That is, of course, a brilliant save from a Chapiso.
Nice play. Botswana trying to get out of trouble.
Nicole Grant looking for goal!
I think she lifted that just way too high. She apologizing to the fans there. The ball probably went over the net.
Yeah, that was of course way out of play. And of course, that was Nicole Grant, a very skillful player there on the pitch. Botswana starting with the ball right there. You have Nkoba giving the ball back to Nkoba again. Zimbabwe blocks it with Elia. Elia in the center. Of course, viewers, that brings us to the end of the first quarter here. Zimbabwe 3, Botswana 0.
Today we are going to learn how to bake. Things may not always go as planned, but our technology doesn't fail. Join Paratus today. Paratus, always prepared.
It's not just a match, it's the crescendo of a season-long symphony.
And now approaching the final critical moments. 2 for 1. Inside the final the FA Cup final.
Welcome back, viewers, and of course for those of you that are joining, this is a friendly match of Botswana versus Zimbabwe here in Windhoek. Pardon me, in Swakopmund.
Swakopmund at the MTC Dome, and we are ready for the second quarter. Exciting times. Botswana have 10 minutes to try and respond to Zimbabwe's 3-0, or Zimbabwe still have time to add more goals. But with the looks of things, I think Botswana are definitely gonna, in the third, fourth quarter, they are gonna feel it in their legs, and I do see how Zimbabwe will capitalize on that. So yeah, let's have a look out for that. But yeah,
Brian, of course, we were, of course, having a conversation of record, and we were speaking about Windhoek, and then I forgot. We are actually in Swakopmund at the Dome. What a beautiful, magnificent facility here in Swakopmund. Shout out to everyone that made this possible. Of course, what an attack from Nicole Grant. Easy. Showing off brilliant, magnificent, world-class hockey right there from Nicole Grant. Showing Tepiso Jacobs through her legs.
I think that was a job well done. It made it look too easy. As the captain, she is leading from the front. You can see here. Of course, Zimbabwe playing with some swagger.
Yes, of course, that is Zimbabwe in full black, Botswana in full blue, and of course they are fighting for third and fourth position. Of course, Mpatane getting the ball there, back to the play. Of course, Mpatane looking to take it to the front, looking in the center. Mpatane gives it back, of course, to Zimbabwe. That is Nicole Granta. Granta is there. What a strike. Of course, Diplock!
Diplock comes in, wastes no time, and just slots it in the right corner. Very job well done by Diplock. I think the two of them are on a roll now, getting a taste of a few of these goals. I think Zimbabwe now have a chance to score a few more goals and just end the tournament on a high by winning your last game.
Indeed, of course, Diplock indeed locked it deep into the goal poster of Botswana, and Chepiso stood no chance. We are there. Again, that is, of course, Nicole Grant, and slides it out for a play, and that is Botswana. Botswana's Koba Ipelo looking for Mpatane. Ball is with Mpatane. Back to South Africa. Pardon me. Back to Zimbabwe. That is a Nicole Grant from Zimbabwe. Playing it between, of course, Bwerinofa. Bwerinofa looking for her strike there. Bwerinofa looking for Chigumira. Chigumira takes it. Slides out, of course, to the left side of the poster. That was a beautiful chance from Chigumira. It is a penalty for Zimbabwe. And we have Chigumira. Padiwa Nashe. Chigumira, of course, taking this one. And a chance for Zimbabwe. What a save from Tepiso. Brilliant save from Tepiso. Of course, ball is between Nicole Grant and Chigumira. Chigumira looking for Nicole Grant. Of course, brilliant from Diplock. Diplock indeed wants to lock it behind Zimbabwe's.
Well, looking at how things are going now, I don't think Botswana are high in confidence, but they are definitely trying to string together a few passes and try and see if they can get on the other end of the half, because at the moment it is all Zimbabwe. Nice play there. Another chance for Zimbabwe to try and get more points, and you can see these guys are full of confidence as they are stringing together a few good passes.
It is a penalty for Zimbabwe. And of course, Botswana keeps giving these chances to Zimbabwe. And of course, Zimbabwe here is capitalizing on these chances here right at the corner. And let's see what the likes of Nengare, Chigumira, Buerinova will do about this one. That was very, very close. Very, very close from Nicole Grant. Could have gone in. There we go. And then we have the likes of Nkoba looking for Mpatane. Of course, Mpatane there. Mpatane, oh, gives it away to Zimbabwe. And it is a goal from Zimbabwe. Nicole Grant. Brilliant performance from Zimbabwe. Mpatane there from Botswana. The ball is back with, of course, deep block. Deep block looking for Chugumira. Ball is back with Botswana. Ball is with Botswana. Botswana's Mpatane. I think it's really a disadvantage for Botswana to have a lot of players on the reserve because they end up being tired and they have no one to replace them. Ball is with Mpatane. Mpatane looking for, of course, her player there at the front. The ball is with we're with Mpatane. Strikes, but unfortunately, of course, Jenna is in for goal for Zimbabwe. A block there from Elia. Still Elia. The ball is back with Zimbabwe. Of course, looking for Matambo. Matambo misses that one. We have, of course, Mushavi looking for Matambo. Matambo back to Mushavi. Back to Mushavi. Of course, that is Zimbabwe trying to attack with Elia. Botswana Mpatane blocks it there. Another chance for Zimbabwe. Another chance for Zimbabwe. Let's see what comes out from this one. That is Mpatane from Botswana. Of course, looking it forward, taking it forward, of course. What a brilliant performance from Koba right there from Botswana. And of course, Zimbabwe is suffocating Botswana. It is, of course, a very frustrating moment for Botswana here at the Dome in Swakopmund. Mpatane looking to play it back, looking for opportunity to take it back to her players. Of course, you have Zimbabwe's.
Wow. Bit of skill there from Zimbabwe. Yeah, no, Zimbabwe are definitely piling the pressure onto Botswana. And I think, they have been playing a few tough games, playing against the likes of Namibia, losing 12, playing against South Africa, losing by 12 as well. I think they also just want to show that they do have the capabilities of also putting a few past Botswana. And I think we can expect a few more goals from Zimbabwe with this one. Oh, as you can see, Botswana are trying to play from the back once more again. And it's not looking as good.
Of course, Zimbabwe keeps on attacking, and they are definitely just in the circle of Botswana. And my friends online, they are telling me that Botswana's goalkeeper is working overtime. And of course, Zimbabwe is showcasing some serious world-class hockey here at the Dome in Swakopmund. What a strike! What a strike from Zimbabwe! Mushavi Ruvarashe takes that one and shows Tapiso that we are not here to play.
Wow, she made that look very easy. That goal was taken from a long range, and Zimbabwe just keep on piling the pressure against Botswana. And so looking at how the second quarter is about to end, what are your thoughts on the game? Do you see Botswana jumping back in and maybe nicking a goal back, or do you see it being Zimbabwe all the way, putting into consideration that they do not have any substitutes, and I'm sure they are running out of gas slowly but surely?
Of course, Brian, I think that there is a huge disadvantage with Botswana because they don't have any substitutes, and of course the players are definitely tired, and they only have one substitute, of course, compared to Zimbabwe with close to 4 or 5 substitutes right there. And of course, I think Zimbabwe is taking this one home, no doubt about it. It's 7-0 second quarter here at the Dome in Swakopmund. Brian, what do you say?
Well, Enzo, I think it will get worse before it gets better for Botswana. We still have 2 more quarters to play, and by the looks of things, they're just going to be running out of steam. And like I said, Zimbabwe is picking up. I mean, the more you score, the more comfortable you are, and the more you enjoy the game. So Zimbabwe definitely going for more goals than they do have now. There we go for the whistle as we do end the second quarter, and we do have a halftime at the MTC Dome as Botswana losing to Zimbabwe 7-0 as it stands. We'll be going for a short break, and we'll be back right after that.
Life's uncertainties can't be predicted, but giving your loved ones peace of mind can.
Just one call and Met Funerals affordable cover is yours, starting at just 85 Namibian dollars per month, covering your immediate family and even extending to parents, parents-in-law, and up to 9 other relatives.
Crafted to suit your needs, choosing from accidental death, tombstone benefits, livestock, grocery, and even a flower benefit.
Need more? How about our repatriation, commuter, or hospital benefits? Plus, a $200 airtime value-added benefit absolutely free.
Ensure your family's future with Met Funeral. SMS Met Funeral to 77112. Because every moment matters, and so does your peace of mind.
It's not just a match. It's the crescendo of a season-long symphony.
Now approaching the final. Critical moments. Go for one. Inside the final in the FA Cup final.
European final.
Europa League Champions League final game.
Stay connected to GoTV to witness. Live in all the finals on GoTV. Brace yourself for the kickoff of the UEFA Euros 2024. Only on your World of Champions.
Spice up your day with GoTV. Abner and Amanda share their love for food and family as they cook up a storm of fun and flavor.
That looks perfect.
Then, from delicious dishes to wedding wishes as newly engaged couples navigate the maze of wedding budgets.
You guys have any idea on the budget yet?
And for a dose of intergalactic fun, join a quirky vlogger and her alien buddy on their daily adventures.
What a day. I'm exhausted.
It's all happening on your go-to place. GoTV. Love it.
They've come to support the ladies. 7 early at half time. 20 more minutes to go.
And we are back as we are getting ready for the third quarter. Zimbabwe against Botswana. Of course, Zimbabwe as it stands leading 7-0. They're officially getting their first win as it stands. I mean, they did get the points from the games that they didn't, the game that they were supposed to play against Botswana that was now cancelled because Botswana couldn't honor the game. But now Botswana have showed up and Botswana are here at the party. But Zimbabwe are definitely making sure to at least go home with a good win and professionally, not professionally, but traditionally finish third instead of just getting the points. I'm sure as I spoke to a few of the players earlier, they do want to play, they do want to be on the field. I mean, the only way they can rate the game is if they do play the game. So Zimbabwe showcasing some happiness in the tough game against Botswana. Botswana get us off to a start. A very, very tough third quarter, I believe it is for Botswana. With limited reserves, as you can see, they only have one substitute. So that will come into play shortly because, I mean, the players do get tired eventually during the game. But Zimbabwe, starting off where they left off in the second quarter. Like I said, Zimbabwe starting off where they left off. They want to score goals. And by the looks of things, that's a good block by Zimbabwe. Botswana will just try and see if they can string together a few passes. I mean, all it takes is one goal, and then you could be on a ride of momentum, and then you could score a few goals back for the team. But as it stands, it's Zimbabwe all the way as they try and go for the attack. Diplock once more there, the number 10, who has been in good form for Zimbabwe. Like I said, Diplock has been in fire form as she waits for the ball from her captain to try and slot it in. She is the target as it stands. Nice play there. And here we see Diplock again. I think we just got a few entanglement issues there. But the ball was almost scored by Zimbabwe once more. Botswana on the front foot. I take my words back. Zimbabwe have taken their ball back and they'll try and score once more. Yeah, Enzo, we are back with the third quarter. I mean, we're starting off where we left off. Zimbabwe in good form. Another try for them to score another goal, don't you think?
Yeah, of course. I think it is another chance, opportunity, of course, for Chigumira to take this one behind Botswana's Tsepiso in the goal there. And, of course, let's wait and see what comes from this one. That is Chigumira taking that one. It is a foul. That is umpire warning Chigumira and letting Chigumira go. Because the ball is now with Diplock Kelly. indeed locking those balls deep into the net of Botswana. Of course, Zimbabwe scores right there. And I told you, Brian, when Zimbabwe gets these chances, they make use of them, and then, of course, increasing their score here to 8 goals and Botswana 0.
And so it's still going to get bad for these guys. Zimbabwe are really enjoying themselves on the pitch. Like I said, they couldn't get the opportunity against the likes of Namibia and South Africa, but now they have someone who they can also pounce on, like the other teams pounced on them. And I think Botswana is going to get a scoreline much higher than the one that we do see now.
Of course, we can hear the chanting and, of course, the excitement from the boys of Zimbabwe, of course, chanting on for their team. We have Bwerinofa there. What a beautiful pass, of course. Back to Bwerinofa. Bwerinofa looking to take it to the center. That is Chigumira. Chigumira looking for deep lock. Of course, those are the Zimbabwean boys chanting and, of course, giving some fans love for the girls here that are playing. Of course, Zimbabwe will face Botswana as well after this one.
Well, we haven't seen the Botswana guys play yet, but I think we can definitely maybe expect a much better game from the guys. Who are also just, I think, 6, if I saw correctly. Hopefully they do have some players that I didn't see that will be on the bench. But yeah, Zimbabwe are definitely bringing the spirits. Looking at assistant coach Eddie there with his team, cheering the ladies on. And the ladies are doing really well. As you can see, Diplock is always on the hunt. She's in the middle, waiting for the ball that she couldn't get. There you see Team Botswana.
Of course, Team Botswana, of course, looking afraid. And of course, they look like they are scared for this one. Very quiet, despite the fact that Zimbabwe is bringing the African spirit here at the Dome in Swakopmund. We are in the third quarter here, and of course that is Patane. Patane taking it in the hands of Zimbabwe. Brilliant stick work there. Slightly misses that one. Of course, Tepiso is in serious trouble from Zimbabwe. We have Zimbabwe looking to take it to the front. Pardon me, Botswana looking to take it to the front. We have brilliant work right there. Being at the right position at the right time. That is, of course, Grant Nicole giving the ball right there and putting it behind for Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe now having 9 and Botswana 0. The ball is stopped there by, of course, Elia. The ball is with Elia. Still with Zimbabwe. The ball is with Mushavi. Mushavi the center.
9-0 as it stands. Zimbabwe are really making the most out of this. Another penalty corner penalty that we are excited for. So we'll see Botswana defending again. I think, like I said, Zimbabwe are really on a high roll, and they will try and go for another goal here. I'm sure the sights are set on their number 10. That is Diplock. Nice play there. Well defended by Botswana. The ball remains with Zimbabwe. Botswana are still caught in a tight corner, trying to escape. Ref calls the play. Face guards back on Zimbabwe, trying to get on the front foot again. Botswana will once more try and stop this one. I think Zimbabwe will try and go for something a little bit different to see if they can get the goal here. There we have it. Nicely done by team captain the Enzo. What are your thoughts on that goal?
Of course, that was a brilliant tactic there. Of course, it was a pass, and then in it was for Zimbabwe. And of course, that was scored by Evans. Oh, what a save from Tepiso.
Very well, job, very well done. A good save from Botswana in that case. But Zimbabwe are again going forward, combining some good plays. Saved. Another good save by the goalkeeper, who fumbles it towards the end. Another goal for Zimbabwe as it stands 11-0 in favor of Zimbabwe. Goalie did a slight mistake there. I think she misstepped, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, another goal for Zimbabwe. Here we go. This Zimbabwe side is really full of confidence, and it is nice to see them getting some points on the scoreboard here. But they do play against a team that has traveled from far. They had some difficulties, and they only made it to the tournament towards the end after being disqualified. And now they're honoring their friendlies. At least we do get to see them play, but it's definitely a team that has been depleted. As I said, with no players on the bench, there isn't much we can expect from a Botswana side that's taking on some good competition.
I think at this point Zimbabwe is playing with so much ease. Of course, leading in the third quarter with the 11 goals and Botswana 0. Of course, that brings us to the end of the third quarter here with Zimbabwe showing flames to Botswana. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
We are all seeking connection to each other, to the world, to the spaces we exist in.
Poor sportsmanship right now from the lads. 1.85 for the national record. Here's another chance, and it is a goal from Indo
Wij zijn CVI is er aan neertrekken. Hij bal lijkt mij grond gevat. Ja, hij heeft grond gevat. En dan zien we.
So, we will be doing this. More advanced, slightly advanced.
So is jou trolley reg? Want
I love that. I love that. So then
kickstart our countdown at number 5 with this one.
Op Netwerk TV se Klets Kompas gesels ons nuus van
We are back for the fourth quarter here at the Dome in Swakopmund. And of course, Zimbabwe is suffocating Botswana. And 11. Wow. Brilliant work there from Zimbabwe. is, of course, another chance for Zimbabwe to capitalize on this one. The question remains, will Botswana come to the party? Will they be on the bus? Of course, brilliant goal from, of course, Diplock. Diplock gets the ball, puts it behind the net. Because that was a poor performance from Tshepiso, letting that one behind, giving Zimbabwe 12 goals now. Diplock looking to shoot. Oh, brilliant performance. Another goal for Mushavi. Mushavi puts it behind. And of course, it was a combination between Diplock and Mushavi. Of course, Zimbabwe 13. And Botswana still nowhere in the game. Of course, Botswana in your full blue. Zimbabwe in your full black. The ball is with Patane. Botswana's Patane. Masole Tlotlo. Ball is with Bwerinofa. Giving it to her. Because Botswana gets the ball. Let's see what Botswana can make out of this one. Taking it to the front. Of course, Botswana looking for Khnela. Bwerinofa. Chigumura. Deep lock there. Chigumira taking that one for Zimbabwe. And let's see whether they can, of course, capitalize on this chance here. Deep block! Deep block strikes, and it was slightly out. Of course, Botswana needs to be careful. So the goals keep coming. Indeed, it should be frustrating facing, or rather losing with so many goals. And Botswana is nowhere on the occasion. Of course, failing to come to the occasion. Botswana, Patane looks to take it to the front. Patane looking to take it to the front. Patane, deep lock, locks it in the center. Looking to go to the front, and that was a Mushave there. Patane, of course, Chigumira gets the ball and strikes. Mushavi. Brilliant strike from Chigumira. Could have, of course, been another goal, but it was a brilliant block from Tshepiso. Chigumira again with deep block. Unfortunately, Tshepiso blocks it and locks it in between her legs.
Very surprised with how Botswana are faring at the moment. They are not doing too bad. Still hanging on into the game. They're still trying to put a few passes together. But yeah, it's at this moment, it's all Zimbabwe that are purging forward with an attempt to try and score again. Diplock plays it. Some skill from Botswana there. Trying to get past Zimbabwe. Fails at that attempt. Zimbabwe block off nicely there. Struggling. Chugumira, just like how Enzo says, comes through again. She has been playing a really good game in this one, but all credit to Botswana, who have made it to the tournament, although they came late. They're honoring the game against Zimbabwe, but you can see that they still lack a lot in this game. But yeah, the squad is also very limited. I think that also contributes to how they are performing on the field. As I said, it's Zimbabwe all the way. Diplo gets through. I think she'll go for goal. Gives the assist, and Zimbabwe missed there. Around 4 minutes left in this one. Botswana with the ball. Can they get one before the end of the game? I'm sure they'll be looking forward to trying to at least get a consolation before the game ends. An attempt to get through there. Zimbabwe, another miss. I think Diplock missed that ball. Wow. And there they capitalize.
Another goal from Matambo. And of course, I'm lost of words, Brian, because Zimbabwe definitely is showing Botswana flames here at the Dome in Swakopmund. Of course, after this game, we will have another friendly of the man. That will be Botswana versus Zimbabwe. And then after that, of course, we will have the two games that we've been all waiting for. This is the finals of the men and the women. That is, of course, Namibia versus South Africa for both of these games.
Okay, we are very, very excited for the finals. The best teams in Africa will be taking on each other once more. South Africa and Namibia in both games. And another one by Zimbabwe. Slotted away.
Of course, that was Elijah with some brilliant stick work there, right there.
Another one for Zimbabwe. Well, I thought the game would end with 13, but they have scored 2 quick goals. And it's 16 now, at least. Botswana only have a minute to stress about, so I'm sure they can hold out for one more minute for the game to end 16-0. Enzo, what are your thoughts on this game and your thoughts on the result? A good save there to prevent another goal for Zimbabwe.
I think it was a brilliant performance from Zimbabwe, and Botswana stood no chance here, and they really did try their best, and of course tried to block, but of course the hungry Zimbabweans came and attacked, and of course I think it's because also they do not have a lot of players compared to Zimbabwe, so that must of course be a really big disadvantage. Goal! Another goal for Zimbabwe, making it 17-0. Was it? Oh, pardon me. It wasn't counted. It wasn't counted. That would have been another absolute defeat for Botswana. There we go. Of course, goal number 17 for Zimbabwe. I think definitely Zimbabwe put up a superb performance here at the Dome in Swakopmund. Of course, Botswana losing to Zimbabwe on 17. Stay with us, do not go anywhere. We will come back with a few highlights.
Meet Christine, an office snacker with a craving for treats, but a budget to stick to. Fortunately, the Synergy chatbot has her covered. With just a few taps, Christine can find the latest specials on snacks, satisfying her cravings without breaking the bank. And then there's Brian, who's out on a date with the most beautiful girl in Vincent. But even romance can't distract Brian from his love of sports updates. Luckily, the Synergy chatbot keeps him in the loop so he can stay connected while enjoying his evening. Finally, there's Henriette, who loves to stay informed with the latest news. Unlike the other boomers, Henriette knows that she can conveniently access daily newspapers via the Synergy chatbot. Whether it's snacks, sports, or news, the Synergy chatbot has something for everyone.
This month on DSTV Compact Plus, superstardom is up for grabs as Nigeria's top singing talent takes the stage.
Good evening, Nigeria. How y'all doing tonight?
Mike and Elvis are hitting the road to restore national automotive icons across the globe.
This is like heaven.
And Puss in Boots must defend the city of San Lorenzo from one catastrophe after another.
You will terrorize San Lorenzo no more.
There's so much to enjoy on your home of entertainment, so upgrade to DSTV Compact Plus.
Indo Africa Cup, we do have a few highlights that we are going to be looking at. Here we do see Botswana, who got on the front foot early on. Not Botswana, but Zimbabwe, who did get on the scoring sheet early in the game, scoring the first goal. The game did end 16-0, as you can see there, running through the Botswana defense that did not show any resilience to the attacks from Zimbabwe. A few good goals there being scored by the team. Once again, a long ranger there, scored from far for Zimbabwe. Definitely a good game, nice play with some tricks and skills from the Zimbabwe team. Number 10, Diplock, did definitely have a good game. Another one there you see being scored from across. Nothing but big smiles for Zimbabwe in this game. 17-0. That's how the game ends in favor of Zimbabwe. Definitely a high score for Zimbabwe there. But we do have the men that still have to play, so I'm looking forward to the Zimbabwe men taking on Botswana. I'm sure that will be a very interesting game as well, and we are very, very excited for that one too. Well, since it is the day of the final, we will have a look at the match that we did have in the females game when Namibia took on South Africa, just to refresh the mind a little bit before we do gear up for the final that kicks off later today.